Types of assessment. When we refer to the types of assessment, we are looking at the norm reference, criterion reference, as well as the standard reference assessment. Norm reference assessment refers to learner achievement that is compared to achievement of other learners. When we think about norm reference, it's always learners that, for instance, the top 10 or being ranked in the class. So when a student, for instance, gets 60%, the teacher will then always tell the parent, okay, but the class, this learner got 10% under the class average, so he did not really do well in the test, or he was 20% above the class average, so he actually did quite well in this test. However, this is not a real good indication of exactly how the learner himself understands the work. If the class average is low, like 60%, and a person is the mark of the learner is like 5% or 10% under class average, then it means that learner only knows 50% of the work. The fact that it is not that bad in relation to the other learners does not necessarily mean the learner understood the work and was able to get a good mark or a good grade. A good example of this is the ANAS or the matric exam, or any exam you write in school for that matter. It usually tells you a percentage, and it is always measured against the class or the group percentage, and it just tells us how this person is doing in relation to other people the same age or the same grade. They always use norm referencing mostly when you look at small early childhood development. For instance, if they say by the age of 1 year old, this kid should be able to stand up against furniture. That does not mean necessarily when the kid does not do that, that he's wrong and he will never be able to stand up or walk. But it gives you an idea of what the norm is at that stage, how many, if a child should be able to sit or to stand up or to walk at a certain age. So the norm is then compared with all the time. Okay, so when we look at criterion reference, criterion reference is something, I always see it like a checklist. So it's a number of things that you have to do. For instance, if you are doing a typing subject or you are a typist, you should be able to type 50 words per minute. If you type 40 words per minute, you did not reach the criteria. If you type faster, then you are overachieving. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but then you are doing better than you should. The same with smaller learners. If they should know all the letters of the alphabet, if they only know 18 letters of the alphabet, then they don't know the alphabet, so they don't adhere to the criteria. Another example is always the driving school example. If you go to get your license, there's a list of criteria that you need to adhere to. You need to be able to do parallel parking, drive at a certain speed, use your indicators. If you do not do those things, then you did not comply with the criteria and you will not pass. In norm referencing, it's a bit more vague. It means there's the pass rate is, for instance, 50%, but it doesn't tell you what 50% of the knowledge you should have. Whereby criteria reference, it's much more clear what specific knowledge you do need to have, or skills or values that you need to have in order for you to pass. The third type of assessment that we are looking at is the standard reference assessment. Sorry, there it says test, but it's actually assessment. This is just something like a self-assessment or a more overall assessment that the teacher do. So here you'll see it's the self, the learner that's thinking for himself, reflecting basically, how did I manage to understand this work? How do I think that I've reached the overall outcomes of this module or this subject? And the same goes for the teacher. Did most of the class reach most of the outcomes? Do I think at this stage I can now stop focusing on this specific content area and I can now go to the next chapter and discuss that? So that is a more vague kind of referencing type of assessment, but the teacher needs to make a decision at some stage that now I can move on to the next topic because most of the learners in the class are okay with what I've been teaching. The same goes for the individual learners. I understand. I don't have to go and ask the teacher any more questions. Most of the work I do understand.